Yeah, that makes sense. We've done a few episodes talking about different conditions and how not all conditions are expected to last at the same amount of time.
Right.
And so, a good example of something that would recover is if you're otherwise healthy, but you have really bad arthritis in your knee, you get a knee replacement, and it actually works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Now you're able to go back to work. You have to be expected to remain out of work for 12 months or longer for disability, but it's just 12 months. So if you
Right.
recover in 14 months, I mean, you would technically qualify.
Right.
And then if they stop your benefits and you go back to work after those 14 months, then that's completely fine.
Sure.
There are other conditions, like if you have a double amputation, that's not, 14 months later, you still have a double amputation.
Right.
That's not going to make any kind of difference. So for the actual, for the reviews itself, it's just the claimant can expect to get a letter from Social Security, and then what is the not when their benefits are stopped, but when they're under review, what does the claimant actually have to do? Do they do anything?
Yeah, good question. The exact same thing as they did on the initial and reconsideration letters. You're going to get forms.
Just forms.
It's going to be the same forms too. They don't
Yeah.
have special forms about, tell us about how your condition improved. It's basically, what do you do during the day? Are you able to feed your animals? Are you able to cook,
Yeah.
clean, shop, be around others, drive? The exact same form, pain questionnaire. What's your pain like? Is it sharp? Is it stabbing? Is it achy? Is it dull? What kind of medication are you taking? Do you have any side effects from the medication? Mental health? Do you have difficulties concentrating, staying on task, being around other people? Same exact things. And if there's a little work, they'll probably send you a work history form because Social
Yeah.
Security's interested in you the last 5 years. That's rarely going to be an issue in a CDR because you've been disabled. But you could have some earnings, if you worked, you tried someplace and it didn't work out, but you were there for a couple months, you could have a couple 3,000 earnings, and they're going to want to know about that. What did you do? Why'd you leave? Stuff like that. That's not as common, but as the other forms. But yeah, the ADL form, the pain questionnaire that we've talked about, the activities of daily living, ADL.
Yeah,
form.
all those same forms that you get when you file the case.
And they're not
initially.
special. They're not different just because
Yeah.
it's a CDR. Because keep in mind, they're going to do a side-by-side analysis. So they're really just, the new side is going to be the new forms. The old side is going to be the old forms that they have in your record. And they do keep these records for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Usually, I tell my clients, usually if you are 45 or younger, if they're 49 when they're approved, by the time Social Security looks at their case, they're that magic 52 and a half age, and they'll probably just, we're not going to mess with that. But I'll tell my clients who are like 45 or younger, you can expect it. You can expect at least one. If you're in your 20s and you get approved, even if you are a double amputee, they'll put what they call a permanent diary on your case. They'll definitely do that. And it'll still come up for review in 7 years because there's a regular diary, which is 3 years. Then there's the special diary that, okay, this he didn't respond in this 12 months to the stroke, but we still think that he's going to. And so they'll give an 18-month diary, stuff like that. And then there's, okay, this guy's a double amputee, or they've got this chronic condition that there really is no treatment that makes them improve in any kind of marked way. We'll give them a permanent diary. But permanent, again, is a 7-year diary, so 7 or 8 years. Somebody might look at that and say, they should look at that and say, yeah, there's no reason to review this case. There's no way that it could change. There's nothing that they could do to improve this situation. But if you're in your 20s, and you don't get that, you don't have a condition, that's, horribly chronic, obviously horribly chronic, you can expect not just a CDR, probably several in the course of drawing disability. And it's like anything else on Social Security. It's pretty much a political football that gets kicked around quite a bit. Social Security is always trying to balance getting claims out quickly to saving the taxpayer money, and it's for some reason it's a seesaw. You can do one, but you can't do the other. Mm-hmm. If you want to get a case out efficiently and correctly, it's going to cost the taxpayer money. Sometimes they're like, we've got to be efficient and we've got to be accurate. And then there are times we've got to save the taxpayer money. And then when that happens, usually you'll see a dramatic influx of CDRs. It's happened in my home state many times to where we just start getting calls from people that we won their case like 2 or 3 years ago. I just got a letter that they're going to review me. Should I be alarmed? No. But you should do the things that they ask you to do. And if they deny you, give us a call. And usually 99% of the time, I'll take their case on a CDR, especially if I'm the one who helped get them approved, and we'll fight it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's telling a client that they can expect to get reviewed any amount of times. But I mean, if you're telling a 20-year-old, hey, you're going to be reviewed multiple times.
Yeah.
That can be scary for some people,
Sure.
and they get kind of worried about it. But as long as you fill out the forms on time, in the correct way, and as long as you're still disabled and you're not trying to hide anything, you haven't secretly gone back to work, there's nothing to be worried about it. I mean, it's annoying to have to fill out the forms every few years, but your case should speak for itself. You already got approved, and then it should just speak for itself.
That's a fantastic point, and that is normally what happens. There, obviously, because of what we do, we see a lot of people getting denied disability benefits because of what we do. We hear from people who are going through a CDR. We've gotten a letter that they're ceasing our benefits. Because of what we do, we see that, but that's not really the way it is in real life. I mean, especially with the CDR folks. I don't know the percentage. I haven't done the research, but I would say at least half, if not 2/3 of the cases that are up for CDR, somebody looks at it before they start it at Social Security, and they're like, nah, there's no way. There's no way this person's gotten any better. And it just doesn't go down. Or even if it does, the medical records will come in and they'll look at why they approved the case in that what they call the comparison point decision. They'll look at the comparison point decision, why we approved it, and then what's going on now. And like I said, it's not just has it gotten a little bit better. It's has it gotten so much better that now they can work. And when they see that, sometimes they'll just, okay, we're going to continue your benefits.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like I said, if you're that 20 or 30-year-old or even 40-year-old, if you're in those younger age brackets, you'll get the letter, and it's going to say sometime in that letter, we may review your case again in 3 to 5 years. We may review your case again in 2 years. It'll say that somewhere in there, and they're not blowing smoke. I mean, they're really meaning that. Yeah, there's a good chance that at your age you're going to get reviewed again. So it's nothing to be terribly alarmed about that you're going through it. Because like you said, if you cooperate with them, send in the forms and stuff like that, and you've had regular ongoing treatment for your condition or conditions, you should be okay. Unless you have improved to the point, then you're able to work. And we've said this many, many times in our podcast. If you are able to work.
Yeah.
That's a great thing, So that could very well be the case. But if they're denying your case and it's like a bogus denial, there's no way they should cease my case. I haven't gotten any better, and I certainly haven't gotten better enough to where I can work now. Then you need to appeal that, possibly appoint a rep to help you out with that appeal.
If you have a question about your disability case, give us a call at 615-453-9151 Monday through Friday, or click the link in the description of this video.